win in the Tank Bowl, the Tank Battle, with them and the Montreal Canadiens, a 5-2 win. We're going to talk about that as well as just other things Arizona Coyotes on this episode of Lockdown Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Robyn, Leaño, Kyle Pavlock right beside me. Welcome back, Carl, after your couple of days off. I hope that rest helped you out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was nice to have a day off, especially since I had to work today.
Yeah, we had, it is unfortunate you had to miss the tank off between us and Locked On Canadiens, because we had some fun just talking about tanking and the hashtag shame for Shane battle. It's we're talking about it now post game, but 5-2. I don't think I expected this, but I said the over though. I did pick the over. So
you did pick the over. So yeah, and you were definitely on with that one. I was not expecting a 5-2 win. We were talking before. I think this is a good win. I think especially after the Coyotes fell 5-0 to the Colorado Avalanche, just for themselves, they wanted to have a response game, and this was it. And they did good.
They did do good, and I think all the players that you got some players who made pretty good impacts. Clayton Keller, obviously, he got the empty netter. Travis Boyd, that was it the first goal, right?
Yep, Boyd had the first. Johan Larsson, JJ Mosier getting his third.
Mosier's doing it again. I love it.
Yeah. And then perhaps most importantly, Nick Schmaltz getting his second of the season. He has struggled a bit. It was good to see him get rewarded with a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah, so like this Coyotes team looked pretty good. And it shows on here. Even I'm looking on Google based off the stats, and it says Nick Schmaltz 1 goal. Oh, it just updated because it said Nick Schmaltz 1 goal, assist, dash, and then points 3. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. It just literally updated right. I was reading it to 2. I'm like, dash? What?
Oh yeah. I love when you're seeing the stats updates. It's always a fun thing when you're writing and you refresh and you're like, oh, that thing I just wrote is no longer true because the game updated. I love that feeling.
Oh, that's how it always is. When I was covering college football and college basketball, I had Stat Broadcast up and StatCast. If anyone's ever used StatCast, it's literally just a live, it's just live stats, like NHL Game Center essentially, except it's a little more in depth. And I'm talking play by play sometimes on those games, and they had, and I'd like, oh, this player is, let's say in football, for example, oh, they're 12 for 17 for 62 yards. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, that just updated. They're actually 11 for 17 for 62 yards. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, it always seems to happen. We even saw a stat change in this game. Janis Mosier, originally, I think someone was assisting his goal, but it was changed to unassisted. Just a great goal. Sorry I interrupted when you were talking about him with the Schmaltz, but Mosier also had just a phenomenal game.
Oh, no, not a problem. Yeah, Mosier, I think I was talking about him a couple times, I think, with the Canadiens and the crossover, as well as with Gil Martin on Locked On NHL. He asked about which players are going to give Coyotes fans hope for the future, and I'm like, all right, just look at the guys from the future. For the future, the guys who are the young guys who recently got drafted in the last couple of years who are making big impacts. Barrett Hayton is making a big impact. Obviously, he's currently out, but he's made an impact with since getting called up. And then JJ Mosier ever since getting called up very only just recently, and it's pretty much giving the Coyotes is not like will refuse to give the Coyotes a reason to send them down.
Yeah,
Like, it's amazing.
Like, just the move that he made to score in this one. Like, he had fired a shot from the point. He couldn't get through, so he just walked into the front of the net. Like, the confidence of the 20-year-old defenseman to just be like, I'm going to go to the front of the net. Like, that's just insane. It is my favorite part of watching Mosier. He's cocky. He like knows what he can do. There's no hesitation in the kid. It's one of those things where, I mean, you see it and you're just like, oh, this guy knows that he can be here. And that's something that's great to see, because so often, like, especially in a year like this, it's got to be easy to get stuck in your own head if you're a Coyotes player.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more thing I mentioned about Mosier, not just Mosier, but just, young players in general, is look at it this way. JJ Mosier is doing well with the Arizona Coyotes. You have Josh Doan doing well with ASU. Dylan Gunther doing well in the WHL. And it just gives you an idea. It's like, okay, so Bill Armstrong is making some good draft picks. The Arizona Coyotes have 8 top 2-round draft picks in this upcoming draft. Bill Armstrong can very well find not just one, but a few gems in this in the upcoming draft. And oh my God, the Coyotes can look good in a couple years from now.
I mean, yeah, drafting is one of those things where, like, anytime I talk to people about it, they're like, "So, are you confident that it's going to work out? Everything with the rebuild?" And I'm like, "Well, you can never be sure. Drafting is just so much of a, like, hit and miss." But it seems like in the short term, at least, Bill Armstrong's hitting. We don't know what long term looks like, because there's still like a lot that can go wrong. I don't want to like throw too much confidence on any one player, but for right now, yeah, it seems like the players are making the steps that they need to make, and as long as they keep doing that, the Coyotes are in a good position for the future. And I think maybe a little bit closer than they thought, with players like Mosier, who was ready to make the jump right away. That was definitely a thing. Bill Armstrong drafted a lot of older players too. So we're going to be seeing them a lot quicker than we would if they were 18.
I wonder, only like partially joking, but at the same time half serious on this. How much of this also goes to our very own Chief Hockey Development Officer, Shane Doan?
I mean, one of the things that I think has been great about the Coyotes is I think the Tucson Roadrunners have proven to be a great development program. They've been that for a while, and now if Doan's doing more work in the development, spending more time there, I can only imagine that is going to continue to be a big aspect of this organization.
It's just amazing seeing the early stages of this all, and seeing how that development works at the young age, and it's like oh my God, obviously you'd hope it does, but you've seen so many stories where like you got a huge group of draft prospects, up and coming, they've got so highly touted, and then all of a sudden they fall flat.
Yeah. And I mean, definitely has been a lot of Coyotes on that list.
I think we lost you, Carl. Are you back?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Gotcha. Sorry about that, everyone.
Not a problem. You look still a little frozen, but I can hear you. No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead. Finish your thought, and then we can, and then we'll talk about BetOnline, and then go ahead and continue this thing.
Yeah, definitely. I was just saying that the Coyotes fans have definitely seen a lot of misses, and for right now, it seems like they're in a position to see some hits, and that'd be great to see for a change.
Absolutely, but one thing's for sure though is I'm pretty sure no one would have bet on some of these players to develop this early, and just having this and coming up with the Coyotes this early on. We thought they were all be down in Tucson, but speaking of betting, you have a little word that you'd want to share with us.
That I do, and that's that BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and a new updated desktop and mobile website, so you can sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right down to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.
And speaking of BetOnline, I want to go back, and I mentioned that we picked picking in the over on this game and said that's the way to go. But one thing I should mention, Carl, and because that's the thing is we didn't have you on when we did the preview show, but this was the first game all season long the Coyotes are actually favored on the betting sports books.
I mean, that does not surprise me. Having watched this team all season, that does not surprise me. They were right to not have the Coyotes be the favorites for any of those games. This was the first one where they really, truly deserved that.
It was pretty funny when I mentioned it, and it got Scott and Laura on Locked On Canadiens to laugh a little bit, just like, oh my god, that just tells you how bad the Canadiens are at this point.
Yeah.
Which is surprising.
We should definitely kind of note that. Like, the Canadiens, like, the fact that they traded for Christian Dvorak kind of signals, like, where they expected to be as a team, and they are not that. And sure, they've also had to deal with some serious injuries, but it does kind of expose this team as definitely they were relying a little bit too heavy on goaltending in the past.
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, like, they lose, their franchise goaltender to not only an injury, but entering the, player assistance program. And then with Carey Price gone, the Canadiens just went belly side up in some ways. And I'm not blaming it, of course, all on that. Obviously, there are a lot of other things that kind of factor into that. But I don't think anyone expected them to go from winning the Clarence Campbell Trophy to in contention for first overall.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all definitely... It was universally acknowledged that Carey Price is a big part of the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think people thought it was that big. Because if so, he probably should have been winning a couple more MVP awards. Because it definitely looked like a different team. And you kind of saw that with the Coyotes being able to score 5 goals. The lowly Coyotes, one of the worst offenses, got 5. 4 of them with a goaltender. Only 1 empty netter. So that was just definitely good to see.
It was definitely good to see. I'm going to go ahead and bring up some of the natural stat trick things here to give you an example. 56-53 Corsi in favor of the Coyotes. 41-41 Fenwick, so that's even. 23-26 in favor of the shots in favor of the Canadiens. Scoring chances 33-25 in favor of the Coyotes. High danger Corsi 14-8 in favor of the Coyotes. This is the first time, like, literally almost every single one except for shots for and Fenwick that the Coyotes are favored. Obviously, Fenwick was even, but damn,
yeah,
like
it was weird. Like, I was tweeting about the game late in the third period, and I didn't really feel like I had any energy. And I was getting ready to compose a tweet and be like, the Coyotes don't look like they have much energy either. It's going to be really hard for them to come back and win this one. I'm like, wait a minute, they're up. I'm not used to writing about the Coyotes being up. It's just generally assumed that the third period, I'm like, all right, what kind of comeback we get to watch tonight? Just kind of watching them like sit back and be like, yeah, no, we're just gonna play this one right and finish strong. That was nice to see for a change.
Do you want to get a good example of how stupid this game was? I guess to put it, for lack of a better word.
Sure.
I'm going to bring up the game flow. I usually put on the heat map. I'm going to put up the game flow of this one for Corsi from Natural Stat Trick. So here it is.
Oh, wow.
Like, you don't... Like, what?
Honestly, That's just a good third period from the Coyotes. That's a good third period. Ah, but oh my god. When you mentioned how stupid this game was, I thought you were going to mention the fact that there was 2 delay of game over the glass penalties,
I feel
including
like
one with 19 seconds left.
there was more than that though. I felt like that at least.
Uh, yeah, there was that delay game for the unsuccessful goal challenge. Which can we talk about that?
Yes,
Like,
that was an interesting call. I'm not sure if I would have made the same call. It went in the favor of the Coyotes. Ended up being, but like, it's a tough one to make.
see, here's the problem. Like watching it real time, I couldn't really see it well. ESPN didn't play like the video until kind of late, until just before like the referee, so I didn't get a chance to really spot it. But like once you got the overhead view, you saw who was it, Roussel, like just get like strong armed into the goaltender. It's like, man, if I could see that view, I would not have made that. I don't know what they saw on the ice, but just from that one, when you can see an arm clearly out like that, you're just like, oh, that's pretty clear.
Yeah, the rules expert was like, he seemed pretty clear. He's like, oh no, this one should come back. That's a good challenge by Montreal. And it's like, this is a tough call to make. It really
Yeah.
is. Because you really have to take a look at every angle, everything. And obviously, this is not like an NFL football game when you have like a camera on every inch, every freaking corner of the place so you can see everything. But
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, Toronto can see everything, but like when you're making that goal, that challenge, like you don't got all those angles. I do imagine Toronto can see pretty much every single inch of the ice from at least one camera or another in the situation room.
especially since they probably have these 10,000 megapixel cameras that can like zoom in on like the like a freaking centimeter.
Oh, I would love to just like spend a game like in the situation room, like not a serious game because I want to like have them do a bunch of random stuff, but I don't want it to like hurt anyone's chances of winning a game. But yeah, it'd be fun to just kind of play around with all the angles they get.
NHL, listen to us. Just give us a day in the situation room. We'll have some fun.
Yeah, well, it'll be like on YouTube. Yeah, do it. Come on,
We'll
NHL.
talk about the experience because look, they can make you guys look better, right? Because you can talk about what exactly goes on in there.
Yeah. Plus, we're Coyotes fans. Like, just feel bad for us.
I
Like,
know,
you
right? Come
should.
on. Anyways, we still got more to get to on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. But before we get to any of that, we have a quick word, or a couple words from our sponsors. And we're back here on the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Once again, Robyn, Leaño, and Carl Pavlock. We're breaking down the Arizona Coyotes 5-2 win over the Montreal Canadiens in the Tank Bowl, the game that was televised on ESPN Plus. I want to say nationally televised, but ESPN Plus is kind of a little more of the side thing. It's still national because you can get it wherever, but you have to be a Hulu ESPN Plus subscriber. It's a freaking thing, but
I will say a lot of people give ESPN Plus crap. I like it. I think they have.
They put on a good production. I like the production they put on.
Yeah, I tweeted out. It's nice to be able to watch a power play without seeing an ad like over the timer. Because yeah, that's what one of the other broadcast stations does, and I do not like that at all.
Speaking of the production and stuff like that from ESPN Plus, were you sitting down at all, or were you working when they did the first intermission?
I was upstairs working. I didn't get a chance to see.
Yeah, because the Arizona, the ESPN had put a little, like the little short, video on the Arizona Cachinas, which I thought was really cool. Because for those who don't know, if you're not from Arizona, the Arizona Cachinas are the youth development program for the Arizona Coyotes for girls. So I'm just like, okay, that's awesome that they're highlighting this because we were talking about Um, and this is like the perfect time too, Carl, where we're talking about, do the Coyotes belong in Arizona? Is
Sure.
Tempe going to be a problem? And they bring up the Kachinas and like, look at this. We're not just the home of Austin Matthews and the Doan family and all these players and whatever, and seeing this, but look at some of young girls, these young women who are becoming really good at hockey and doing stuff like that and finding their passion in the sport. Listen to this. Hockey belongs in Arizona.
Yeah, definitely. The Kachinas are one of the great success stories for Arizona hockey. They're definitely a thing that's more recent. They are in the news a lot because, of course, their connection with Matt Shoat, who unfortunately recently passed. And so I think we've been seeing having a lot of opportunity to talk about that. And it's great to see. I love when there's attention that's brought to youth hockey in Arizona, to women's hockey, because they don't necessarily get the same kind of attention. And anytime you can really highlight it and highlight good news, because I think what they got I don't remember what it was on Twitter, but they are Division 1 now, or
They just went at the Tier 1.
Tier 1, Tier 1. That's it. Yeah, which is great to see. I remember how kind of excited I was to watch ASU hockey go from ACHA to NCAA. And I've seen programs who are like, oh yeah, we're having our first, Tier 1 ACHA team. It's all good to see, and hockey just continues to develop in Arizona because people like it hockey in Arizona. I don't know what to tell you. It's I know the people tell you it doesn't happen, but it's true.
I'm definitely getting the urge now to reach out to youth programs around the state, bring them on this show to tell
Yeah,
people, to tell all you guys how important hockey is to this state. Because I've lived here for only 6.5 years now, and I've got a chance to see it. I've got a chance to see how important the sport is to a lot of these people, and it's amazing to see.
yeah. It's truly astonishing to think that a couple years ago, it wasn't even clear the Coyote or that Arizona would have one professional hockey team. It now has two.
Hmm.
It has a flourishing minor league team with its own very specific culture. It has tons of youth programs. It has multiple college programs. It has an NCAA college program, which is just great. Hockey's going to continue to do stuff, and there were people who were tweeting about the lack of attendance for a Monday afternoon game, which I don't know why they did it in the afternoon. I know today is Martin Luther King Day. It is a holiday. It is one that I think a lot of people in Arizona don't necessarily have off. I know I didn't, so this would have been nicer if it was later, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a part-time employee still right now, so I didn't even have to worry about today, but that's why I was able to watch the game in full. But yeah, I mean, hockey does, it's shown to be proven here, and I really appreciated the little feature they put on there. They actually did include they had a little snippet of Matt Shoat on there.
Yeah,
And they even mentioned it too, that they said that Matt Shoat unfortunately passed away late last month, and they talked about how important he was to the Kachinas program and to youth hockey in the Phoenix area, and just you know what, that's what gave me the idea. It's all right, I'm going to
yeah.
start reaching out to the youth programs.
And I mean, they should be highlighted for stuff like this. More people should know about youth programs. Just because, if you're listening to this, you may have a kid, you may know someone with a kid. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're going to consider it. But it'll be nice to, have people come in and tell you the benefits, and don't necessarily have to find the programs. They'll come to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we get anything closing though, before we close off this show, do you have any thoughts you want to, final thoughts you want to do about this Coyotes Canadiens game, and before we move on for the rest of the week, because we had Tankathon, but now we got more to go.
Yes, I do. I really just want to continue to highlight the play of Phil Kessel. We didn't talk about him, but he had a really good assist on the Johan Larsson goal to make it 2-0. Just a phenomenal pass over. Um, I think Phil Kessel, like, yeah, we were talking about him as a shooter. He doesn't necessarily do that as much anymore, but he's got a really good eye at like playmaking. Who'd have thought Phil Kessel knows how to put the puck where he wants it to go? I know it's crazy, but yeah, just good for Phil. Vote for him
It's,
for the All Star game.
it's always fun watching Phil do well, and yes, vote for him for the All-Star game because Coyotes could use a second person in there just to give Coyotes fans a little bit of a better feeling about themselves
Yeah.
because we know this season sucks. It's accepted.
Plus, who doesn't want Phil Kessel in an All Star game? That sounds like a lot of fun. Like, imagine the photos. It'll be great.
Because if all you gotta do though, all the division has to do is just pay him in hot dogs, and that's it.
Yeah, he wins like that last drafted. He gets like the Wienermobile. Beautiful.
I love it. I love it. Anyways, that's it for this. Once again, the Arizona Coyotes take a 5-2 win over the Montreal Canadiens. We'll have more to get to later this week. They have the New Jersey Devils coming up later this week. Game will be Wednesday at 5 p.m. The night is over in New Jersey before they go head over to New York to face the Islanders and the Rangers in a back-to-back. Those are all the games coming up this week for the Arizona Coyotes. So quite the road trip ahead of them. But that is it for today's episode. Hope you guys like what you heard. If you did, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe. If you yet to already, we're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, on facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes. On Instagram now, actually, at Locked On Coyotes, and on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am personally on Twitter at Robyn_Leaño, Instagram as well. Carl Pavlock is at Carl Pavlock FFH. Interact with us, ask a question you might have. We can answer right back, or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy, and don't forget to howl on.